Welcome to Monetize Forum 2021. This is Igor Stenmark at MGI Research. In our next session, Monetization at Global Scale, you will hear a case study of how VMware has been transforming its monetization platform for global scale and capability. Our guest speaker, Rishi Gowaikar, has been leading this modernization effort. Rishi is the Director of Product Management for Enterprise Apps at VMware. There are many participants in our audience today that are likely very familiar with VMware as a technology supplier. But in this session, we will focus on how VMware automated its internal quote-to-cash capability. So prior to VMware, Rishi has worked in senior information technology management roles at companies such as Agilent, Deloitte, and HP, among others. Rishi holds advanced degrees in engineering and business. He is joining us today from San Francisco Bay Area. Rishi, welcome to Monetize Forum 2021. Pleasure to have you
Thank you.
here. And thank you
Thank you,
for
and
being
glad to
here.
be here. Thank you for
Great.
having me. Glad to be here.
Look forward to hearing your perspectives and share some wisdom with us, what you guys had to go through. So to begin, maybe you could just expand on what is your area of focus of VMware?
Sure. So my specific roles are around IT application implementation. I own the team that leads the delivery of functionality and capabilities around some of the order to cash capabilities that we have. And I have teams spread out across the globe in different geographies. That's the role that I pursue right now.
Okay, so VMware has been working on kind of revamping its quote to cash capability now for some time. If you could maybe share with us both the genesis of this effort, what were your original goals, and how far along are you in that journey?
Sure.
What are your macro level objectives for the business? Why are you guys doing this?
Sure. So VMware, as most of you will be aware, is an infrastructure software company. That's how we bill ourselves. So that is to say that we typically provide software that gets used in most data centers of companies, right? Most private cloud situations. And also we have additional software that we have started to sell pretty well in the end user computing group, which is the software that manages devices, laptops, mobile phones, and things like that. And historically, our business has always been license key based, right? That's how the company started. And there was no subscription component to it, no usage component to it. But as the market has evolved over the last 10 years specifically, a lot of our product lines started to shift towards a SaaS approach, subscription approach. And our operational systems, which support the business, are built the traditional way. Take an order, bill it once, and we are done, right? So we had significant deficiencies in our current operational systems to address. And as part of that, then we embarked on this journey. We call it overall the monetization journey, but mainly the ability to link the billing, to enhance the billing capabilities, to link them to the order management and upfront and quoting, right? So that's the journey that we are on. In terms of where we are right now, we've gone live on our new billing platform, which is specifically SAP Brim. And we are moving product line by product line. We'll have an opportunity to talk more about our journey so far in detail. But we are about, I would say, 30 to 40% done. We have numerous product lines that business units that we've acquired through acquisitions, external acquisitions. We have internal growth also, organic growth also, where new product lines are coming up. And each of these product lines originally were in the legacy platforms, and we're moving them one by one. So I would say about 30 to 40% done. And it's another 2 years roadmap to get all of our subscription product lines over to the new platform.
Yeah, sounds like a very intense, complex effort. And maybe following up on that, if we were to talk about, when I look at your process and what you guys have to handle, to me, it strikes me as something with a lot of different dimensions of complexity. You have e-commerce, you have direct selling, you have
Mhm.
subscriptions, you have usage, you have um, configuration issues, you have channel, you have all kind. Maybe expand on that. What have you
Right.
guys dealt with so far?
Right. So we initially started our journey as part of self-service e-commerce, and we are mainly B2B, business to business. So
Right.
we very rarely deal with consumers, although consumers can come to our website and buy software, but our predominant customer base is B2B. And we started with the e-commerce go-to-market approach and enabled that. And then we expanded that further to what we call our sales-led processes, which are sales reps actually setting up the code for the customer in our CPQ system. And then that was built to flow end to end using the same core capabilities that the e-commerce front end was using. So we could not afford to have two different setups. And then of course, a lot of our traditional business has been conducted through EDI, through our channel partners and things like that. So we also had a tricky task of enabling EDI for consuming our subscription or SaaS services. And of course, it's a global implementation, so we have to enable all currencies that we can do business in. We do business in about 6 to 7 different currencies, so all of that, and it's got to be real time. So we don't want to have the traditional batch mode where our orders are sent in by our channel and they have to wait for a couple hours before they get acknowledgement. So that's some of the. Hopefully, that gives you a little bit of flavor
Yeah.
of where we are,
Yeah.
what we are trying to address. Yeah, cool.
So it's a lot of dimensions of complexity. The volume is probably probably medium, but I can imagine that underneath each invoice there could be thousands of line items in each invoice.
Correct, correct. So it's as you said correctly, it's a business to business scenario. So the number of invoices is less. It's not like a utility company or a cell phone company, but each invoice is comprised of, let's say, 40 line items. If you look at the details which comprise those 40 line items, it could be millions of usage records that we record in our data centers, and we rate them using the new billing engine SAP Brim, and we collapse it into a readable bill. The nice part about the billing engine being able to do that is we have full end-to-end traceability for customer service issues. As an example, when a customer has a problem with a specific line item on the invoice, we can actually trace it all the way back to the exact, let's say, 100,000 records of usage, which hour and which second they were using which service to what degree. And we can spit out that report as a PDF and give it to the customer. And of course, there's more complications in rating, which we will get into in the next few minutes also.
Yeah, you almost answered one of my next questions. I understand what subscription, I guess, is now table stakes in your business, and now you're into usage heavily. What kind of adoption have you seen in your business so far?
Mhm.
And are you experimenting with any other advanced pricing models, like outcome-based models, for example?
Sure. So there's we could talk about this specific question for about 20 minutes, but I'll keep it short. So as part of this effort, we
Yep.
switched from a proliferated SKU approach where we had thousands and thousands of SKUs for each and every permutation of our SaaS offering. I mean, folks will know what this is in their context, but if I wanted a red car, then I'd have to have a red car as a SKU and a blue car as another SKU, and that setting up the SKUs individually was a nightmare process originally, and it still is in the legacy applications. And that's because all of the SKUs have to go through a lot of approvals through the different departments, finance, costing, so on and so forth. And what we did as part of this is we did two things. We enabled what we call attribute driven pricing, which is the base price of the product is decided, and based on the configuration attributes the pricing gets adjusted. Much easier to manage for our pricing operations team. And then we also enabled something called dynamic pricing. In our business, we have use cases where, as an example, if our electric utility company at the data center drops its rates or increases its rates, we need to be able to give those discounts or uplifts to the customer immediately, as of, let's say, midnight tonight. And for enabling that, we did not want to. We looked at a few other software packages that did billing, but in those we had the need to amend all the contracts so that they could pick up amend all the live contracts so they could pick up the new pricing. And that was not a feasible process for us at all, not a practical approach. So one of the key capabilities we looked at when we selected Brim was the ability to have this dynamic pricing feature where we just have a central price list for certain product lines and validity dates, and then all contracts refer to it and apply their specific discounts on top of it. So those were some of the things that we actually had to deal with. Other than that, we have the typical SaaS subscription billing models. Coupled with that, we also have a consumption-based model. So we have a commitment that the customer purchases. Think of it like a cell phone plan, a $50 plan, right? And if you go over the committed
Mhm.
amounts, then we'll look at how much more have you used, and there are overage rates that we use to calculate the overage billing, right? Though that was the initial billing model that we enabled when we went live first with SAP Brim. Subsequently, now we have complicated billing models that arise out of hardware. So we have situations where we have services that are sold as hardware as a service, where for the hardware component we have a rental charge. So then we have to couple it with shipping, our SAP logistics system shipping, and also entitlement management. The entitlement management system, which we currently have in-house, but we are again looking at SAP's EMS. We plan to manage all of our assets, digital assets for customers on the EMS. So it's a broad effort right now, and a variety of billing models that we have to enable. Every product line brings its own flavor to it. We've tried to standardize, but then we find out that a lot of the product lines are driven by what their competitors in the market do. So standardizing all these product lines on, let's say, three billing models has been extremely tricky for us, extremely problematic. And so we've chosen a platform that we believe gives us the flexibility to accommodate as many billing models that get thrown at us. And that's where we are right now.
Great. So you mentioned SAP Brim as a billing engine. What does your product, kind of your stack, look like, technology stack, in terms of handling all your quote to cash requirements?
Right. So from starting from the beginning of the quote to cash process, the CPQ system, we use Salesforce mostly. We have another system called Model N also, but mainly all the sales-led processes get driven by from Salesforce, and then that's integrated to our back office, which is the SAP billing system. We share pricing data between SAP and CPQ, and also to EDI. So our partners get a dump of the prices. So for that purpose, we use, meaning EDI infrastructure is the same as it has been.
Hmm.
But from a CPU standpoint, we have that. And then the rest of the financials, the billing, etc., happens in SAP. We have a small component where we use Oracle, our legacy system, for consolidating accounts receivables and all that. But again, the general ledger, etc., happens in SAP. So SAP is slowly becoming the dominant platform as we roll out more and more product lines over.
Yeah. And where do you keep, with so many different products, where do you keep the masters? Pricing, product catalog?
So we've made a decision to maintain the SaaS subscription pricing and rating in SAP. That is our master. Product data is mastered in a yet a different system called Product Data Hub, which is a standalone system that feeds data, and that feeds data to our legacy systems as well as SAP. But pricing for SaaS is managed and mastered in SAP and fed out to all the consuming systems.
What kind of resource commitment have you had to make to this
Mhm.
entire vamping effort for quote to cash? It sounds like a
Yeah, yeah. This is a
very big
massive
effort.
effort within the company, and there's a lot of commitment all the way from the top executives. Currently, IT, my department is divided mainly into what we call keep the lights on, run the current systems, keep them operational, and the remaining part of the applications team that is entirely dedicated to what we call the subscription enablement effort. There's multiple tracks in there, so but the bulk of the team delivering new capabilities is dedicated to this effort right now. And after putting so many team members, it's a roadmap of a couple of years. It's not
Yeah,
it's
you
not
still
gonna
got
be
ways to go.
it's not
Yeah,
a big bang approach that we are going with.
right.
So
Step by step.
mhm.
Um, what have been the results so far, if you look at kind of measurable impact on the business? What has it been so far? Have there been any surprises? How does it compare to what you guys originally expected?
Yes, so we have determined that the setting up the some of the operational pieces, foundational pieces, um, going back again to product and pricing data for our operations teams, that is easier in SAP. However, we have not sort of rid ourselves of the shackles from the legacy systems, because sometimes many of these product lines have to be enabled in both the SAP application as well as the legacy application. And so the operational teams have not completely shed their old efforts that they used to take, but just
Yeah.
setting it up in SAP is far quicker. That is on the just the master data. Transactionally, now all of the SAP is being sort of it's changing as I see it. SAP, the billing system is being relegated to truly the back office, where all orders are coming in through interfaces. And so there is no hand entering, a manual entering of an order into SAP. Everything is coming in through interfaces, and then we make sure that there's decent error handling and all of that. But the traditional approach where people used to go into SAP and key in an order, that's not what we are seeing more and more here.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we are noticing is, in terms of product and pricing operations, going back to that, the big takeaway there is that skill set has become a little more technical than it has been traditionally. So because of the rating models and charging models and things like that, and the attribute driven pricing, we've seen that our product operations teams have had to upskill themselves, or even
Mhm.
hire some IT like skill sets into their departments, where they can adapt to the changing platforms and things like that. Where previously it was just create a new product for everything. Now a lot of thought has to go into the product design. If we do that well, we found about 60% of the work is the product and offer design. The rest of the things, the order flow, the quote flow, the amendment of contracts, falls in place.
Yeah. With companies that are kind of looking to duplicate what you guys achieved and want to modernize their quote to cash, what did you guys learn from your experience? What can you share? Would you recommend to them? What are the big lessons learned?
So historically, in my experience with SAP, there was always the big SAP Big Bang project that went live for the full company, or half of the company. Big chunks were attempted to be taken live in SAP onto SAP. But what we've learned is, right now, at least in my company or our peer groups, the appetite for massive projects is not there. Plus, the requirement for agility is much more. So we need to be able to show some wins every 2 to 3 months to everybody, to execs. And to that end, I think what has worked well is this think larger but execute smaller approach, which is, we looked at what the needs are for the whole enterprise, but then we've come back to executing it on a product line by product line basis. And it worked so well that a couple of the product lines that are growing fast then came to us and said, hey, can we actually raise the priority for our product line so that we can go live earlier and things like that. So I would say that was a good win, a good lesson that we learned for ourselves, and I would highly encourage others to consider that, instead of putting the whole project as a big bang and going live in one shot.
So think globally, act locally.
Kind of like that. Think larger, but take smaller
Right.
steps and execute. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're almost at the end of our time. I wanted to thank you for participating in Monetize Forum and sharing some points of wisdom here. And we hope to have you back at the future Monetize event. Thanks very much, Rishi.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. You do.